Hey there. Let's talk about forgiveness. Hello and welcome to the Mindful Movement. I'm Les Raymond. Thanks for joining me today for another mindful tip. Probably more than a tip. This is just maybe a recent observation, something that's come up for me personally, just as I kind of navigate my felt human experience in the world with everything that's going on now, and maybe thought there was something in there that could be of use for someone else, so I figured I'd share. I'm going to draw a connection to parenting. So for those that you have kids, this might resonate more, but I think there's still a message in here that's useful even if you don't have kids. I remember the first time seeing my child get hurt, like hurt physically, maybe at the age somewhere between 1 and 2, and my daughter took a stumble down maybe a half a flight of steps. And it was the first time I experienced a sensation that I really had never experienced, like a overwhelming sense of helplessness, as if you've let your child down. Your job is to keep them safe, and you see them physically hurt, and there's really nothing you can do. And it's really an awful kind of gut-wrenching sensation. And I think experiences like that can trigger sense of self-blame, like it's your fault, even though you didn't really do anything wrong. Like accidents happen, and you could never fully protect your loved ones or yourself for that matter. There's a lot of variables that we interact with in life that, there's some things that are just going to be out of your control. But I remember that sensation clearly, and it happened a few more times as I had a second child, and once in a while kids get hurt. But I noticed through my practice of forgiveness, which I find is something that I fall back on quite often. I guess it goes in phases, but throughout the year there's times where I really rely on a practice of forgiveness, whether it's for others or myself, or kind of like humans as a whole, like the collective species and all the history of maybe wrongdoings or suffering that was created, whatever. I mean, it's just something that I personally kind of lean on, just like you would lean on ideas of gratitude or self-love. But forgiveness is one that's just really hit home for me a lot, because I know that I've used it personally to get through a lot of the things that I've had to deal with. And when you see a child get hurt, it's oftentimes that you will place self-blame, and then there'll be guilt and shame maybe associated with that for allowing it to take place. And forgiveness could be a useful tool to kind of look inward, and even though you didn't do anything wrong, to forgive yourself, to kind of let go of the suffering inside, that internal conflict that we will create, that we will make space to arise when it doesn't really serve us. Nobody kind of wins from you feeling those negative emotions. And over this last year, I find that there's some similarities. I've noticed that I've created a lot of suffering internally by seeing my kids having to go through this experience, especially at this age, and nobody's ever done this. Nobody could tell them how to do it, and they're learning, on the job, kind of how to be a teenager in this environment. And for me, it triggers a lot of the same kind of helplessness, like I allowed this to happen, I didn't keep them safe. Now they have to deal with this crazy stressful situation in the world, and there's nothing I could have done to protect them. And it's very easy to go from there to really blaming myself, and then shame and guilt and really negative emotions and feelings kind of emerging out of those thought cycles. So I've been reminded personally to go inward and lean on it. And even though, I didn't do anything wrong to create this scenario, that there's still value and usefulness in the practice of self-forgiveness. And it's not a perfect antidote or formula, but it's definitely a powerful practice. And as I mentioned before, I get reminded of the power of this practice probably multiple times throughout the year. And lately, this is what's emerging for me, and I thought I would just share it, but it's been really helpful for me navigating how to relate to my kids during this experience and really learning more about myself from how I kind of see myself reacting and responding to what's going on. So if you out there are feeling something similar, I guess maybe this is a tip. I would maybe recommend, a practice of self-forgiveness, looking inward, maybe looking in the mirror, maybe using a mantra, affirmations, whatever works for you, whatever tool, hypnosis, meditation, to come back to these ideas of forgiveness, these concepts to practice, to lean on, and allow them to offer, the healing that these processes can offer. I hope that you find this useful, and I hope you stick around for more videos. If you know somebody that you think would benefit from this and have value from it, then please share. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Have a great day.